Hey, I'm Jeffrey.
I'm Krystal, and you're just chilling with JK. We are a married couple
with 3 beautiful kids
from Brooklyn, New York. Come chill as we discuss
whatever the we want. Welcome back, y'all.
Thank you so much for joining us on another episode. We really appreciate you tuning in.
Yes.
So I just want to acknowledge to Jeffrey that I appreciate him cooking dinner on Saturdays.
Yes.
And Fridays. But, tonight the dinner was amazing. Mm-hmm. He normally makes the same things.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight was burger night, but I had a veggie burger in a cinnamon raisin bagel.
Because we was out of burger buns.
And some vegan cheese and a hash brown. I put the hash brown inside of the burger and it tasted amazing. Like, I did not want it to end.
Yeah, it was hitting. I had the same thing, but I made the tofu a barbecue flavor for the kids, for the boys, because they don't like the burger patties from Trader Joe's. And
that veggie burger is like mostly, well, it is just vegetables. So it's literally like peas and carrots and mushrooms and I forgot what other vegetables, but it's like blended, I guess, and made into a patty. And there's like no preservatives, no nothing. It's just all vegetables. And the way it's made, it's like it comes out like a little bit crunchy or crispy. And so Millie loves it.
Yeah, that's her favorite patty. And it's called Hi-Fi or high
protein.
High protein burger. High protein burger.
Yeah.
And high pea protein burger. Yeah, that's what it's called. Or you could double check while we just continuing the conversation. But yeah, it was a great dinner tonight. And yesterday's pizza was really good too.
Yeah, we just
the mushroom.
Figured out how to make a dough from home, from scratch. And it's been 3 weeks now or 4 weeks?
3.
No, it's been 4 weeks.
Yes, because you had did it the first
initial time. Yeah, and it came out really amazing. Like his pizza game, because he adds a topping and all of that stuff, so it was really good. So we're doing great on our, what is this, like a month and a week of no ordering out.
Yeah.
I can't believe we've made it this long, because normally he orders food on Fridays and Saturdays. I guess to make his life easier. I don't know.
Yeah, but gotten smarter. And yeah, it is called Trader Joe's High Protein Veggie Burger. It's amazing. What? And this grocery.com has a 6-pack of this for $134.
Why is it so expensive?
What type of robbery is this? Wow.
That's lie.
I would say 6 packs from the store would be, it's like $4 a pack. So 4 times 6 is only
48.
24.
I can't do math.
So why are they charging $134? Look how the internet robbing cats, son. They are wildin'. But anyway, let me... I'm trying to get over it, but wow, that's insane. They tripping. So, on to our topic today. Today we're talking about...
the book. It's called...
Boundaries.
By Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. And
did I say that correctly?
Boundaries?
Boundaries or boundaries?
Boundaries.
Okay. How they separate it?
Because it's a line depicting boundaries.
Yes, I know. And they're different colors. Anyway.
It tricked you?
Just making sure that I'm correct. I stand corrected on
I'm
here.
I'm just going to give you guys a quick snippet of like what this book is about. So boundaries will give you the tools you need to learn to say yes and know how to say no Doctors Henry Cloud and John Townsend are here to share the lessons they've learned in their years of practicing psychology and studying patterns and practices that support clear biblical boundaries. And honestly, this book was recommended to me by a friend in book club earlier on when we first met. And I was like mentioning, certain things that were happening in Jeffrey and I's life. And she said, oh, a good book to read is Boundaries. And so since I started book club, and also this was during the Panini, we decided to, get Audible or audiobook, one of them. And so I was like, well, yeah, since I'm going to be, listening to a lot of books, I'm just going to start with this as well while I'm doing my marriage book club. And so every time I would read something or listen to something, I would mention to Jeffrey about it. And it was just so interesting because it really applied to our lives at that time. Even now, it does really, it sets our mind straight into how we want to interact with people. And so I really appreciated reading this book. And then Jeffrey started reading it on his own, right? I think you even forgot that I even read that book, right?
Yes, I did. And it was sent to me by my brother Gio. And he sent it over to me because it was around the time that I was having that rough time of trying to figure out how to rebuild my relationship with my mom. It was like, dealing with forgiveness and how I want to approach our relationship. So I was expressing that to him, and then he was just like, yo, here's this book. And I was like, really? And I was just like, I think it's something Krystal read before. And then I was just like, well, I'll get to it. And I never got to it until later, around September of last year. And from reading or listening to that book, it changed a lot for me, and it exposed a lot from my childhood too.
Yeah, that is true. Because even when I was reading it and mentioning it to him, it was like a lot of things that we let happen to us where we didn't set our boundaries. And I was like, wow, this is how we should have approached the situation when we were going through it. Or like, I would just keep like telling him little things, and so I was just like, it really opened my eyes as to things I was letting happening to me, and then also things I was allowing to happen to myself in our relationship, in terms of like how people view our relationship, I guess. And then also how we let me clarify, because my thoughts are everywhere. Basically, in our marriage, we did set the right boundaries, meaning no one could break the bond that Jeffrey and I built, the foundations of our relationship. So once we started having kids, that dynamic kind of like trickled down into our kids. So like, for example, our thing was, don't let other people know our problems in our relationship. Let's solve it first, right? And then obviously, once we get past those experiences, we can share it to others, in case they needed help, and like kind of like understanding how we figured that specific situation out. So now it doesn't matter like what anyone had to say about our relationship, because we already had that foundation. You hear what I'm saying? And like setting the boundaries of, well, what you say doesn't really matter because I already know this person like fully, like their flaws, everything. We talk about everything, so like we already established that bond that can be unbreakable. If you listen to our toxic episode, you understand what I'm talking about. So it wasn't like we had to deal with issues that were really dangerous for each other, like let's say domestic violence and stuff like that, like where you need to have outside people step into your relationship and stuff like that, But for us, we had that a relationship where we didn't experience those things. So we were able to set boundaries and not allow others into it. Long story, because I'm going off on a tangent. I'm sorry.
No, I'm listening. If you would like to leave a voice message, please check us out on anchor.fm/justchillingwithjk.
So now when it came to our individual relationship with others, we didn't know how to set those boundaries.
Yes.
So meaning how to not be people pleasing, or if they overstepped our boundaries, we didn't know how to say no or say that is not okay, or you know what I mean? So for us, for reading this book, it just showed me how we were flawed in that aspect. And also it could kind of like inflict little pieces into our relationship.
I agree with that. And on my end, to give you a little bit of back history, I am Haitian. I'm both my parents are Haitian, and I would say this for most Caribbean cultures, that saying no to an adult, I'm guessing at whatever age you are, is like the worst thing you can do to a Caribbean descent, or like anyone from the Caribbean, or I guess the motherland of Africa. And this culture, like saying no is like the worst thing you can do to your parents or anything like that. So it was really hard, to say no. So you turn out to be a people pleaser at the end of the day, and it becomes draining, like overwhelming. And this book made me realize, like, damn, if I had the opportunity to say no and my no be respected, then maybe I wouldn't have to wait until I was 33 to realize that my no is saying yes to myself.
Yeah, that's one of the key. It's setting limits on you and how much you distribute your energy to other people. And because what we don't realize is saying no is a good thing for ourselves. Saying yes when we don't want to say no is really bad for ourselves, because we're denying ourselves what we want in order to make someone else happy.
Exactly.
And I think we don't realize that. Yes, we're not saying that you can't give, but sometimes you can give too much where it just depletes you as an individual. And
if there's no one pouring into your cup, you'll end up with an empty cup trying to fill up everyone else's cup.
Right.
And that's not good for you. And I tatted on my arm. I don't know why. I tatted on my arm before leaving California when I used to live in LA in 2012, that you don't know the key to success, but the key to failure is trying to please everybody. Don't have a clue why my brain told me to do that, but at this point in my life, I realized why I did it. And finally coming to notice why I did it is to remind myself that choosing me first is not the worst thing I could ever do. Being able to respectfully say no, no matter how the individual reacts, I'm able to counter the reaction and not feel bad that I said no.
yes, because it gives you, it basically explains a different kind of reactions a person may give you when you say no. And so you're able to maneuver with each reaction. And if you're at the last and like the final reaction, which is kind of like, yelling, or like the person is being mean to you because you don't want to give what they want, you can then decide, well, okay, if you can't respect my boundaries, we don't need to communicate until you are ready to meet me where I'm at. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was very insightful, just because we were in that experience.
Yeah.
And so it kind of like made me see like, okay, well, wow, he kind of knew what he was doing, because that is what he did. Mm-hmm. That was your reaction before we even knew anything about this book. Mm-hmm. However, the things that led up to that part, we should have had the book, I guess, mm-hmm. because maybe it wouldn't have escalated to that extent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But also we also had to realize, well, while I was reading the book, I had to realize that, yes, even though I found this new information, right, this new substance from this book on how to cope and deal with boundaries and stuff like that, mm-hmm. just because I'm receptive to it, these people aren't going to be receptive to it, because they didn't read the book.
Yeah, exactly.
Nor were they interested in reading. They would have been interested in reading the book.
Exactly.
So I also had to kind of like understand, like, their mind frame is in a different mind frame than what I'm in.
Exactly.
And I'm trying to heal myself and learn what I did wrong. Mm-hmm. You know, and sometimes you may not have done anything wrong, and it's just part of like generational trauma.
Generational trauma is probably the number one thing that just continues to carry on
as traditions.
And we got to understand that we need to, find out our history and be able to correct our history for our children's future.
Right,
and
because we don't want to give that to our kids.
Carry it. And we just got to be honest with ourselves. Mm-hmm. And it's not to judge anyone. It's more so having more of an understanding for these individuals, and have an understanding that they may be stuck in that way because of their past. And in order to deflect it from continuing being that pioneer, to stop those traditions. So like with our kids, like saying no for me was a no. Saying no was disrespectful. So now my kids, they could tell me no, but it has to be a reason behind a no. So I don't let them just say, no, I don't want to do this. So say for instance, my oldest don't want to do his homework. You'd be like, no, I don't want to do my homework. Why you don't want to do your homework? Because I don't feel like it. What do you mean you don't feel like doing your homework? Get your homework done. That's not a good no. If he was to tell me, no, I have a headache, I'd have been like, okay, then that means take a break. When you feel better, come back and get your work done. So there's difference in no's, and you just got to create these boundaries for your kids, because if your kids run around being yes men, it's not gonna work out for them, and people will take advantage of them because they didn't learn how to set boundaries because of their parents. It starts with us, mm-hmm. and then it moves. If it continues with them, they're screwed. And if they don't acknowledge that they were like we did, like we had the opportunity to do self-work, they'll mess up. The tradition will continue, and we just don't want that for our dynamics.
The fact that like allowing conversations to happen between child and parent, because mm-hmm. that wasn't a thing, right, for our generation.
Yeah, it
where
wasn't.
You can express your feelings and your thoughts. Your parents say that's it.
Yeah.
So even if you wanted to say no, you couldn't. However, for us, it's not that we're allowing the children to
do whatever
our parenting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's more so like we already made the decision, right? Mm-hmm. So no, you're doing your homework, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But however, you can take a break so you can mellow out. That doesn't mean you're going to play. No, that means you're going to sit down. You have a headache, you're going to relax for like 30 minutes. And obviously, if it's not something that gets worse, then you're going right back and you're doing your homework. You know what I mean? But the fact that they can communicate and express how they feel, I think is something that parents should listen to, but it doesn't have to be the end all that the kids are making the decision.
Yeah.
And I just learned that because I read another book, but we can talk about that book in another episode.
Yeah. So all in all, like, try to pretty much teach yourself. It's not necessarily just saying no, it's saying yes as well too. It goes both ways, and just find the balance and find your true self in what you want in life, and as the individual that you are. So if you want to build a habit of saying no to things that you don't want to do, start practicing it in small things.
Yeah, because I think they even mentioned that, like, just practicing the word no and how, like, freeing it is. I definitely felt like, for me, this book was kind of like reflecting on the past, but it has also made me able to just communicate even better with you too, because in terms of like talking about boundaries, right? Like understanding, like, no, if I don't feel like, having a conversation right now, or I just feel like being alone, it has opened me up. Instead of being moody, being open and talking like, well, babe, I just don't feel like talking right now. And him respecting that. And then when I'm ready to talk, I talk, and vice versa. Me knowing when to stop talking, or whatever it is that's me interfering with his boundaries. It also made me learn to respect those as well.
Yeah.
So it can apply to all aspects of different relationships, and I just felt like it was something that I needed to learn at that point in our lives.
Yeah.
So going forward, I don't let it happen again.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, it's a good read.
It's pretty quick.
I did it on Audible.
Yeah, I did on Audible as well.
But I would definitely buy the original. Like, not the original, sorry. The
physical
book.
Yeah.
Just to have it in our library so our kids can read it when they're of a certain age. And just try to, like, especially when, teenage years, right? Getting into friendships and stuff like that, for sure. But I feel like it's something that we will continue to instill in them. Yeah. So at that point, they'll kind of like, oh, wow, mom, dad,
spoke about this before already.
So I definitely would buy this book, and I feel like the blessings with Audible and stuff like that, we're not sponsored, even though they should sponsor us.
Yeah.
The blessing with just having Audible is just that, like, well, you can really like get a taste for what the book is, and then if it's something that you can always reread again, then I will go out and buy the physical book.
Exactly.
It's just like The Alchemist. Like, I think, did you do it?
I bought the physical book first.
You did, and then you bought the Audible?
Yeah, because the thing is, I bought the physical book, and I thought I needed the ebook because I wasn't carrying books around with me at that time.
Right.
And then I started reading on the ebook, and then I realized I couldn't read it because of the screen. It was irritating. So the physical book, I went back to it after you finished it before me. And then I was just like, let me read this book again.
Yeah. Fun fact, like, I never was a Audible person. I like physical books. I like reading, turning pages. That's just the person I am. I have a library card. I would go to the library all the time to get books, return books. Yeah. So that was a thing for me from ever since like junior high, even elementary school, all the way into college. Like I just love getting books, and I wanted my kids to be, the same. But with the Panini, we couldn't go to the library anymore, and being part of book club, it made me return to like loving to like read books, but I guess more so listening. But now it's making me feel like, okay, well, if I really love a book, then now I'm gonna go out and buy it. So I definitely have 2 books that I would want to buy, which is the parenting one and boundaries.
So definitely tap into that and let us know how that book makes you feel, or did it, bring up past memories, or I guess you would probably have, a traumatic experience, or whatever it is. Like, share your comments, whatever thoughts or feelings that occurs, or if you read this book already and you resonate with us, share a comment as well. And just know that our upbringing as Caribbean descent was amazing, but it comes with flaws, and those were the things that were flaws. But majority of the Caribbean culture is amazing. I love being Haitian. She loved being Trinidadian. I love me a Trinidadian, and well, it's a big onion, right? And our cultures are amazing. Music is amazing. Food is amazing. Our lifestyle was amazing. We had hustling parents that hustled and provided for us throughout our lives and made us reach and be these great individuals to date. And yeah, even though, our parents aren't perfect, these individuals allowed us and guided us well enough to be the people that we are today. And that's how I'm ending, this. And love my parents, and that's that for the topic of boundaries. And we will see you. Well, I said see you. You see, I got a bad habit of saying that because this is, just audio. So we'll talk to you guys next Saturday.
You can support us by
shopping
lastingeverafter.com.